I guess early look at the Chargers. Obviously, a very different coaching staff, some different personnel. That's actually what have you seen from them? Kind of, and how do you kind of prepare for a team where there's so many unknowns?
Uh, you know, first off, thank you for being here. Good to see you guys. It's been a while. Thing that you do in terms of preparing is you look at the players first. So the NFL is about the players. Pay attention to those guys. Then you look at the scheme next to see what's changed. I know they've brought a lot of energy there, and particularly for my side of the ball, I'm dealing with on offense. Roman does a great job. I mean, haven't been lucky against them the two times I faced them as a play caller, and they do a great job. There's going to be an element of toughness. That's through their head coach. That's through their coaching staff. And the players are really, you can see they're buying into the culture that they're trying to bring there. You can see it on tape, the toughness, wanting to run the ball. And you hear it throughout the interviews and hear them talk about it. So I'm sure they're happy with it, and they're probably just as excited as us for the game on Sunday.
Now that you've had him here for a few months, I know you coached him in the past, but specifically with the Raiders, Christian Wilkins, what sort of impact does he have for you guys on that defensive line?
He's a great leader. I think he was a leader when he was a rookie, in his own way, and now he's had success in this league, and you can see his leadership skills, how he's matured, and not just he was immature before, but how he's matured over time. And I know the players gravitate to him, coaching staff gravitates to him, and he's doing a good job for us, and I'm sure he's excited.
Yesterday, Christian said that there's a good synergy building between the defensive unit. What have you seen out of the cohesion of your guys and how they're really picking up things this year?
Synergy and cohesion. I like cohesion. Synergy, I've never been a fan of that word. I don't know why. I just never been a fan. But they spend a lot of time together, and they have honest conversations with one another. I know that we've done a better job as coaches of getting to know them. In terms of, I know I can speak for myself personally, spending more time with them, whether it's in the calf, whether it's just sending more texts, whatever it is. And I think the reason why we have the cohesion, or in the word you used, is because we spend a lot of time talking to each other and we're honest with one another.
Obviously, AP's had some familiarity with him, and also you coached him in New York during the homes. What went into the thought process of bringing him in, and what do you think about him as a player?
That would be specifically, you have to ask Tom and AP, but we're always welcome for good players, and the fact that he has a familiarity with our defense, that helps. And I've known him since he was a rookie. He's a smart, diligent worker, works hard out there on the field, can tackle, can cover, can do a bunch of things, play special teams. So, all of that stuff in terms of the checklist I just went through, I mean, that's a good defensive football player. You like to have those guys around.
When it comes to Coach Harbaugh, been talking a lot about running the ball. He's known for his teams kind of being run first. What do you think of that approach in today's game, where it's thought of as a pass league first, and what's kind of going to be the keys for the defense to have success in the run defense?
I think it's smart. You look like, all the teams that win, it comes down to whether you want to start at the beginning of the season, how you're trying to establish your identity during training camp, or when you get to the money games like the championship games, the Super Bowl. You got to be able to run the ball. You're not going to be able to advance in January without being able to run the ball. So I think it's a smart decision to make sure that's at the forefront of what they're talking about. Because if you can't stop the run on defense, I mean, it's going to be a long day. I mean, then the coordinator could call anything. And that's the worst fear as a defensive play caller. But I think it's smart. And in order to be tough, you got to be able to run the ball and you got to be able to stop the ball. So I know toughness is a big part of what they're trying to do. They're preaching, and that makes sense to me. And he's been successful doing it.
Like Trayvon Merritt took a big step forward last year, and we've seen him make a lot of plays in training camp in the preseason this year. What do you think is going into that ascension for him as a good player?
Like most professional athletes, they make a decision. I mean, again, he can learn about the curl flat on all 32 teams. He can learn about playing man-to-man coverage on all 32 teams. I mean, we're not doing rocket science here. I mean, like, maybe a little tweak here and there, but it's the personal decision to say, okay, I'm a professional football player. I really don't have anything else to do. I don't have schoolwork to worry about. All I got to do is get better at my craft, and that's a decision those guys make on their own. And I'm just proud of how he's progressed throughout the years I've been around him, and looking forward to seeing him play Sunday.
Where do you think, like he's, in your opinion, where do you think he's made the biggest strides in this game?
Communication. We just had a walkthrough just now, and just for him to correct somebody without hesitation, wasn't waiting for a coach to do it, just went over there and did that. I love seeing stuff like that because for whatever reason, it brings me back to like, maybe something earlier when in the process, like 2 years ago. So that's always cool for me. I tell him all the time, I said, you guys make my day, keep me young and you make my day when little moments like that, it was probably nothing to him, but it was a big deal to me.
Patrick, how much of a luxury is it, I guess, to have 7 linebackers on a 53-man, initial 53-man roster?
I like having 7 good football players. It could be linebackers, D-line, whatever, I don't know if it's a luxury. I just like having good football players. So, again, the roster, how it's constructed, that's between Tom and AP. And the more good football players we have, the better off we'll be. And I love having it gives you some variety, I guess.
How's that cohesion then between the linebackers having that many guys?
It's good. I mean, when you got Spill as your leader and Diablo in there, those are pretty good leaders right there, good communicators. I'm sure they eat and hang out with one another and things of that nature. Out there on the field, they have to talk by nature. They got to talk because they're playing the linebacker position. They have to talk to one another, but I'm not going to keep using it. I mean, well, you didn't say synergy, but we're going overboard with this cohesion thing. It's a football team. It's a football team.
Coach, he doesn't get talked about much, but he's coming off one of the best seasons of his career. What is next, in your opinion, for John Jenkins?
Improve every day, 1%. Just try to get better every day. Again, John's a professional. He's been here doing it for a long time. I bet you that's all he's worried. He's worried about winning on Thursday today. Anytime, we have personal goals. I'm sure I will never share my personal goals with you guys. I'm sure he's not going to share his personal goals with you. But really, the main thing is just to get better every day. That's all I can ask those guys to do. So, where you got Thursday practice, we're focused on third down and early down, and we'll see. We'll go from there.
So 2 more items that
I assume when you watch a lot of Greg Roman offense the past, and as you said, you've gone against them, there's been a lot of mobile quarterbacks. Justin Herbert isn't necessarily known for that, but it's capable of it, I guess. How do you kind of factor in whether he might be used more in the run game and what they plan to do with him?
I mean, just refer back to the third down and 9 last year. I mean, he took off. So he looks pretty mobile to me. So again, y'all ask me this all the time. I factor in everything. I don't have anything else to do. He can move. So, we got to prepare for everything. I don't know what they're going to do. That's the beauty of week 1. A little angst, anxiety, nervousness, whatever you want to call it. But that's the beauty of week 1. Everybody's going through it right now. The game tonight, they're going through it. They don't know what they're going to do, but, we get to play football.
Antonio took over last year. There was a real marked increase in improved play on the defense. I'm wondering this year, how do you plan to build on that? And it seems like this year's narrative is that the defense is the strength of the team. I also believe in that as well.
I don't get caught up in narratives. The thing I try to do, and I live my life by this, is just try to get better every day. And because of last year, last year was last year, maybe it gives us a starting point in terms of communication, cohesion. Last time I'm using it, okay? But in terms of for 2024, we had to start from ground zero in terms of getting, our fundamentals schematically, what we're going to do. I think going into this year, it's all going to be based on how we perform and how we prepare and practice and how we perform on Sunday. That's the only way we're going to be judged. Nobody's going to care. As soon as Sunday happens, nobody cares about last year. Nobody cares.
What have you seen from Jack Jones in the training camp, preseason, as far as taking that next step?
I was always impressed by his athleticism. So, that was God-given there. In terms of his football IQ, you can see it starting to grow more and more as he gets more plays under his belt. I think just that position right there, you're just going to be able to see more. You see the combinations. You get familiar because all the receivers are all the same receivers aside from the rookies. They're all the same receivers, so you get familiar with those guys. And then once you figure that out and you're able to communicate, because now you can say, hey, they are in this split. Hey, it is him stacked behind there. It's just reminders to your brain for your muscle memory to kick in to be able to play faster. So you're seeing that.
Cool.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
How's everybody doing today? Very good. Enjoying the heat. It's finally real, right, for me. We've been in Costa Mesa, living that easy life. Good.
You guys announced Obviously, Gardner Minshew's gonna be starting quarterback this year. What do you think about how he fits into this offense and what kind of factored into choosing him?
Yeah, I think Gardner's experience and he's been in with a few different coordinators, a few different systems, a few different teams. I think that somebody who's been through an experience as much as he has, I think connecting to a new system is much more simple for someone like that. So as far as him just being new to it or connecting to it, I think his experiences and his capabilities allow him to fit a lot of different things. And but he brings that element of leadership and that element of having that experience. And then he really bought into what we were doing here and his connectivity with the other guys on the team. I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, not just simply one thing or another. But I think for him, he really stepped up when we came to camp, prepared. The leadership part of it stood out right away for the guys. And, I think if you ask the rest of the guys on this football team, they're ready to follow him.
Coach, obviously Aiden and Gardner had two different kind of play styles, two different strengths. How much does the playbook kind of adjust or change, centered around a player's strengths and changing? Yeah.
Sure, and it's not just the quarterback position, right? It's got to be everybody. We get Colton Miller back, so we're going to play into those strengths, and that goes for the rest of the 10 guys that are on the field. That's part of our job, right? Our job is to try to get the players in the right position, give them the opportunity to go make plays, and that for sure goes with the quarterback as well. So you want to try to give them as many opportunities to go showcase what they're capable of. And obviously Gardner to Aiden, slightly different, but the intelligence, the leadership, the toughness, all that stuff. It's just it was pretty easy to build it around all that good stuff.
You mentioned Colton. What do you see from him since he was able to jump back in a few weeks back?
Yeah, I mean, he's an elite player, right? And then when he gets on that practice field, it kind of just jumps off the tape right away for you. And so we're excited to have him. Someone that, you can definitely lean and build your offense around.
Not a lot of reps between Gardner and Devontae this offseason. Weeks, not on the field reps anyway. What do you see about that chemistry that they've been building, especially these last 2 weeks?
Yeah, you're right to the sense of, specifically him throwing the ball to him on a team setting. I think they've had so many more moments, outside of that are gonna, they're gonna be able to build off of. And it's a long season, right? And so Tay's experiences plus Gardner's experiences make that much easier to kind of come to the center point. And then I think I think what stands out most is just the relationship that they have. Maybe you want to say not necessarily in between the lines, but outside the lines, the types of conversations that they have, not just between the two of them, but how it's affecting the rest of the room has been really cool to see.
Devontae talked earlier this offseason. He said when he was in Green Bay, and you probably saw it firsthand, that he and Aaron didn't necessarily have a lot of on-field reps, but they just kind of had this relationship, whether it was watching film or just having conversations off to the side. How long does that take for that type of relationship to build between receiver and quarterback, I guess?
Yeah, the difference probably is just that, one guy played quarterback in a system for so long and had it a certain way, and, Gardner's played a lot of ball and kind of sees it a certain way. But at the same time, you're talking about, highly intelligent people who can communicate what they see at a very high level. So I think because of that kind of stuff, I think that time frame that you're looking for to, find your peak should be much shorter.
What traits have you seen from Zamir White throughout camp that make you really confident in his abilities to be kind of that workhorse back?
Yeah, I think, Zamir's a special guy. I think, the work ethic, the focus, determination, I think you put the pads on and you see the pad level go down and how that doesn't affect his game and he's able to, play at a full speed. I think all that stuff's been really fun to just kind of, he's been someone who, we put a lot of eyes on when the pads came on, and he just got better every single day. So I'm excited to see him, truly go at it on regular season Sunday.
Levi just used the word workhorse. I mean, that type of running back has kind of gone away a lot in the league. We don't really see it that much. In an ideal world, would you want that guy? Would you want Samir to be a guy that takes on the vast majority of the carries, or do you want to rotate it around more?
I think you're looking for someone to just take the lead of, you get those critical moments in games and situational football that they're able to respond. And I don't think that always necessarily means that it has to just be one guy. I think that can be two, can be three. But I think it's always important to have someone in that room that you know is the lead of the room, not necessarily I know you're using like the bell cow, 25 carries, 30 carries a game, like you said, it's 17 games. I don't think anybody's surviving that anymore. But to be the lead guy, and when it's crunch time, you know where you're going with the football, and that guy's going to get it done. I think that's more important than anything else.
Coach, to that point, what does having multiple running backs who do multiple things well, how does that help you as a play caller?
It's tremendous. We talk about it in here a few times now, right? Like guys that can play multiple positions and do multiple things. That's our game. You're trying to design yourself. Okay, where are the defensive strengths? Where are their weaknesses? And how can we manipulate both of those so that we don't let those strengths beat us? And how can we take advantage of those weaknesses? And when you have guys that can do different things, that's obviously just more tools in the toolbox.
I was talking to Michael yesterday, and he said the biggest area of improvement he's noticed in Brock Bowers has been his confidence. Could you also say the same, and where have you believed that he's also developed as well?
Yeah, I think Brock has this humble, confident way about him that we noticed, as soon as we got on the field. And I think his comfortability with what's going on and, the demand that we have of that tight end room has just been really cool to see for a young guy to kind of just keep continuing to grow. And, and Michael's really doing the same thing. We ask them to do a lot of different things, and both of them really respond at a high level. And for a young rookie to come in here and be able to do the different things we're asking him to do has been really cool. And it's a credit to him, his work ethic. But like I said, it's that humble, confident mentality that I think everybody in the building is just really, they love following it.
Just a couple more guys. We have to wrap practice, so just two more.
Luke, this is your second time being an offense coordinator in the NFL. Obviously, it's a different team, so a lot of things are different from the Bears. But for you personally as a coach, what are you approaching? How are you approaching the season differently? What do you think you learned from that experience, and how is it forming how you're going into this year?
Yeah, I think you learn a ton, right? I mean, that experience. There's no better teacher. So there's a lot. That's a pretty deep question because I say I reflect on that a lot. And I reflect, from game to game, from year to year, is something that I do a lot of. And how to be a better leader, how to be a better play caller, how to be a better teammate. All that stuff. I'm constantly reflecting on that, and I think, hopefully, as this just continues to go, you're just more prepared for those opportunities. I said a couple times ago when I was with you guys, there's those blind spots that when you're doing something new for the first time, you're necessarily prepared for. And sometimes you watch other people do it and you get to do it, and sometimes you experience it and get to correct it. And so I think having those opportunities in my past is going to only help me do a better job for sure.
You mentioned intelligence and talking to people in Gardner's background. It comes up a lot. Is that something that's jumped out to you as far as his IQ level being kind of up there?
Yeah, totally. Not just the football IQ, but the awareness of your surroundings. I think that's a big part of playing the position is, having the awareness of what's going on around you and making sure everything's in the right place, the right time, and being in control of everything. And then now you can start dialing into the nuances. You start dialing into those little things that give you the opportunity to take advantage, because you have a bunch of elite players all over the place, and it's those little things that kind of give you that edge. And I think, someone to Gardner's football IQ / abilities, really gives them a good opportunity to go out and do those things.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.